Okay, good.
Okay, thanks a lot, Manish, for being with me in this first episode of Tech Thinkers. Okay,
It's
and
my pleasure, fellow.
I'm really sorry to the audience for being a bit late. Sometimes we also face technical glitches. For that, I'm sorry, but nevertheless, I'm really happy that we are able to start this, and we'll be having these kind of conversations with leaders like Manish, wherein objective is how do we learn from the experiences, professional as well as personal, from people like Manish, and also understand from them how do they see the landscape changing. I don't like to use the word veteran, so I wouldn't use that. But yes, Manish has great experiences, deep experiences in handling marketing of technology companies, new age companies. So that's very relevant to understand what and how exactly marketing works in these kind of companies, and how is probably marketing different in these kind of organizations. So, Manish, let me start on the lighter side. Now, and I'm sure many of the audiences, they know you from a professional side, and they understand what kind of taskmaster you are, and all those great things about you. But on a lighter side, like when you're not working, what are you doing?
Okay, so mostly when I'm not working, I like to listen to music and sing.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm not that great a singer or anything. I just like singing. Um, so mostly old Hindi songs. And sometimes, if I'm actually both relaxed and creative, then I like to draw. And
oh,
then
you are.
yeah, so
Ah.
I draw and I sing, and sometimes I write poetry. I've written a few stories and written a few comic books. So that's the kind of guy I am.
This is interesting. I never knew you're that kind of a person. Okay, I could only sense sometimes probably you read a lot of books, but nothing beyond that. I had never thought of you having interest in music, drawing, and other such things.
Yeah, well, that's what happens with you just see the corporate version of someone, right? You end up
Yes.
negotiating deals and figuring out campaign plans and stuff like that. But mostly, I'm a guy who loves the arts. And,
Okay, okay.
you know,
So
every
so
now and then
now
try to dabble to draw and things like that.
Okay. So now here I start my first question. Now, the transition of Sterlite Technologies, and, with due regards and respect, like Sterlite Technology for me as an external person was always like a semi government entity. Okay. I'm sorry for using this kind of a reference, but that's what was a perception always in my mind when I would look at Sterlite Technologies. But then
Mhm.
you came in and we saw STL, very vibrant colors. We could connect with the brand, and we could feel that okay, it's something new. Okay, so what was the journey? Tell us something about that journey. That was really interesting to see.
So, um, I wouldn't say government, but I would certainly say Sterlite Technologies was a company that had just come out from being a company that was across multiple different types of manufacturing and infrastructure setups. And the then CEO, Anand Agarwal, wanted to convert this into a international, global, multinational type company with the idea of being a great end-to-end technology company from India. That's when Anand asked me to come and join and think about building that brand and that whole likability per se. And then the opportunity came about a year after that when me, my team at that time, I remember a fabulous artist called Naveen, a great brands person called Alok. We got together and we said, look, we can convert this into something really cool. Because obviously, when you are connecting the internet and people are doing things like watching videos on it and talking to their loved ones, I mean, this is certainly not a boring thing. It's what life is made of, right? So we had this whole journey of bringing up the company to a global level. And I must say, it wasn't that straightforward, right? Lots of constraints. You needed to be Sterlite. Um, and at that time, if you remember, Sterlite Technologies had shared its name with Sterlite Copper, which happened to be in a big, you know, problem down south. Nothing connected with our company, but the name being the same was creating issues for us. So I, for one, wanted to, and there's a beautiful deck I have where we kind of sit down and read, like, okay, do we want to be young, energetic, and geeky and stuff like that? And here are the personalities and stuff. Some people in the executive committee, things like that we have in these big companies, right? Sat together and said, "Oh, okay, this seems different, and let's go do it," right? Some people were, "Okay, if we do it, will it still be us?" And then I guess Anand and Ankit and some of the people at that time said, "Look, it won't be how we were; it would be how we would be." And I really wanted to call the company a little bit more kind of classy. I wanted to call it Stellar, not STL, right? But that was maybe too much. That was maybe too much. People did not handle it. So we pulled up a fast one. We called the company STL, and all the people who work in the company, right? We call them STLR, Stellar, right? And so I inserted that thing in the minds of people, and I won't say it's just me. I'm calling my team out, right? And lots of people, Alok and Naveen being the most remarkable ones that I can remember. Obviously, other people at that time. And net, we got this out. We said, look, we have to be colorful and vibrant and different and all of that. And most people, first time I remember, we launched it and we did this in big session in the Indian Mobile Congress, and we
Mm.
had look, most people did not know then, right? I remember so many people coming to us and said, "Which international company has just come in here?" Like they weren't ready to believe we were there. And it's not just the name and the colors. And we went from white to black and from straight line to neon colors. But it wasn't just that. The way the people were talking, right? The T-shirts they would wear, the way they'll talk around and walk around. Yes, I mean, there's an Indian that is the Bay Area Indian, right? And they were behaving like that. So people thought that was a good journey, total fun. Really enjoyed it. The company has been very respected for its innovation from there on. And it's not that the engineers weren't already innovating, it's just that it helps them be more confident about themselves. So there you go. Longish answer.
No, no, no. It was interesting, and it was always on my mind that I want to know the story behind, because it sounded very exciting. And then, I think then you got Ankit as the leader. So it completely transformed the perception and imagery of Sterlite Technologies into this STL, and everything looked really, really lively and vibrant, and our
Mhm.
memories and associations of old Sterlite Technologies completely kind of got cleared. So that was interesting. Now tell us, Manish, how is the marketing of technology company different than maybe marketing in any other company?
Okay. I want to say two things before that. One is you called me a hard task master. I have no problem with the word hard or task. I just don't think of myself as a master and I will never. Okay.
Oh,
So I would
okay.
much rather think of myself as the hard task buddy. Just
Okay, that's
putting it out
interesting.
there, right? Um, and there are friends that make friends work hard, right? I mean, when we are in a project team, I'm assuming you have been in project teams in college, and there's this one buddy of yours who's like, "नहीं इसको time पे करते हैं, नहीं इसको अच्छा करते हैं, it's not good enough. Let's try one more time," right? So I would think of myself as the hard task buddy. I hope you should ask team members of mine. They are really good friends of mine. I don't feel that I try to act like a boss or something. And if they do tell me that I feel that I act like a boss, then it'll be heartbreaking for me. So not a master, not a master. Hopefully, I didn't feel like that to you. And if I did,
Never, never, never.
um, marketing. So I wanted to say one thing which most people don't understand about marketing. And it's not most people. I think it's they do understand, but on the day-to-day basis, they have probably forgotten. Right? Marketing is, in standard Kotler's way. I wish I had the book somewhere here. It's called the 4P model, right? And one of the P's is the product, and product is really the value that you generate, right? So a lot of people don't think of product placement and pricing as marketing in the daily basis, but that's not really the case. You have to actually think of the whole thing out there. They think of positioning as marketing, right? And what is the proposition, what's the brand, and stuff like that. And I don't want to say that positioning is marketing, but I do want to say that mostly we work on positioning because the product pricing and placement strategies are generally set up, and then you do the positioning over and over again, right? So the thing that I wanted to say is that products or businesses, they generate value, and brands, therefore positioning part of marketing, generate desire. And people
Hmm.
don't buy because they value something. They enjoy because they value something. They
Hmm.
buy because they desire something. You walk around an aisle getting out, and you go to the store and you're trying to, and I'm going to give you a B2C example. You go to the store and you're trying to buy, let's say, shirts for your son or for yourself. And on the way out, you see this like nice little candy, right? You don't really need the candy, right? But you desire it. So we, as the fourth P of marketing, the positioning guys, what we do is we generate desire. We don't generate at that point the product value proposition. We don't generate at that point the pricing and we neither generate at that point the channel.
Hmm.
That's all set. We are generating desire. That's what brands are. And a lot of people think of brands in a very B2C sense, meaning, oh, I don't need something, but I will still want it or desire it. Like chocolate example is classy, right? There are times people ask people, sales guys, hey, well, how would you sell a comb to, we have a comb here, by the way. How will you sell a comb to a bald person, right? You never sell a comb to a bald person by, unless you put a gun to their head. The gun won't actually help, but at least they'll buy a comb, right? I believe that in B2C, because the prices are low and people are very flippant in the decision making, in some cases you can create desire without creating value. In B2B, you have to create desire as a very small, thin icing layer over the product, which is the value. And that's the fundamental difference. So, marketing in B2B is about the value of the product explained in its details, in its technicalities, ensure that the engineering is well understood, that the business model is well understood, the pricing plan is well understood, the channel, the delivery, the service, all of that is well understood. And then when all of that is well understood, how about having a little bit fun as well along with it? Now, funnily, most people think of me and people who do a brand transformation as these guys made it look fun, fancy, lovable, colorful, energetic, all of that. But I don't think that added any more than 10% of the value. It certainly added more for the fun, right? This conversation wouldn't be fun without it.
Hmm.
What it did add was the fun after the value. So what we would do in B2B marketing in reality is calculate the total cost of ownership, is calculate the reserve prices. It is to help customers with six days worth of consultative problem solving. Go
Hmm.
there and build POC products for them. Define a way to make them go and do our site visits and plant visits, and then also write papers for analysts, talk to gardeners and foresters and you know tech arcs, right, and explain the detail of the way the engineering works. Explainer videos on the internet explaining how things are done. Those things are the core guts of B2B marketing because business buyers don't make split second decisions like buying chocolate. They spend hours, months, sometimes years. They calculate everything on an Excel spreadsheet, sometimes on detailed models. So, yeah, B2B marketing is an engineer doing marketing.
Oh, wow. I think you put it so nicely, and I'm sure, those who are watching us and would watch this video later will definitely learn a lot. And one of the thoughts behind tech thinkers is that the emerging leaders, they really understand the nuances of what they would have probably read in their colleges and universities. Uh,
Hmm.
so, so coming on to another angle, I'll come to the technology company later, but digital is now, the key medium. It's the default medium of even marketing and going beyond that.
Hmm.
So, and I have seen how STL really did the digital marketing during COVID. Okay, I think I would just see STL everywhere, and not just, it was not kind of uh, you know putting colors everywhere, but it was really some value in terms of content, in terms of other such stuff which I would see
Hmm.
STL doing those days. So, how do you see this digital evolution in marketing, and how is it really creating a new kind of, I wouldn't say challenge, but an opportunity for companies to leverage?
So I'll answer the question first for any marketing, and then maybe for B2B and especially B2B enterprise marketing.
Hmm. Hmm.
So if you think of the marketing funnel, not marketing strategy. Marketing strategy is things like how do we, sorry, yeah, marketing funnels strategies, things like what is the personality of the brand and how do we price a product, what features should we give to the customer, and things like that. And marketing funnel is catching a customer, tracking them down the till the point they make a decision, then keep them happy post that decision, right? So in my view, the marketing funnel per se is, sorry, this is very irritating, the background and blur and like if it doesn't work well, then it kind of just pisses me off.
Right.
If it works well, it's beautiful. And okay, so in the marketing funnel, we basically start with, and then the older method is to think of it as a funnel, but I'm using the term just because I don't think it's a funnel anymore. It's like more like a flywheel or a spiral, and there's changing in marketing technology and thinking around it. But think of the marketing flywheel. You get someone aware about your product, and then they get to consider your product and try it out, and then they buy, and or maybe they try and then they buy, right? And so the terms are awareness, consideration, purchase, loyalty, advocacy, and things like that, right? And each step there is a decision being made. And the older method of thinking was your decision is made on how company A is talking to customer B and explaining their way. That's always been a small portion of how people make decisions. You always talk to your son about whether you should buy this car or not, right? You
Hmm.
always talk to your HR department friend about should you buy this CRM software or not, right? Even though they are not necessarily the people who are going to use it. Your son's not going to drive the car unless he's become old enough. And backseat driving is also a possibility. But and your HR department is not really going to use the CRM. But you care about people's opinions. They were influencing you, and there was no way for them to be in this intense influencing methods in the past. Come to digital, you only 10% of the conversation that you're having with your customer is from you to the customer. 90% is from you to the rest of the world and back to the customer,
Hmm.
right? So it's their friends, their family, it is the college kid who they met somewhere, it's the newspaper, it is it's the YouTube guy, it's the investor who's getting upset, it's all of those people. So I believe that digital is all about taking your customer as a eventual recipient of your message and not the direct recipient only. So for a company like STL, which is probably going to be happy if they have only say 2,000 people in the world buying their product, right? I mean, that's the number of customers. And if in any customer you even count 4 or 5 people, that's the number you need to influence. But those people get influenced by millions. And that's
Hmm.
what our strategy in digital was. Expand it. Even your B2B customer is taking many influencers in, and digital really helps like that. In the space of B2B, one other thing happens, which is, you know, unlike a B2C customer, a B2B customer is actually physically available to the seller. So if you are, let's say, the brand manager of Mondelez and you're selling Cadbury's five-star bar, and there are 20 million people in the country buying it, you can't really meet them. I mean, yeah, you can meet someone, but what percentage of your customers can you meet? If you are, however, a person selling, a fractionating column to a refiner, right? There's only 20 customers in the country. You absolutely are meeting them.
Hmm.
How do you use social media to meet them more often than they give you time? One on one human connection, right? Not influencer, direct customer connection, but on social media. And I can tell you, our entire objective of social media on LinkedIn was we will tell stories about ourselves, about our customers, what we like, what we don't like, what we stand for, what we are absolutely disgusted by, in sweet little direct notes, and expect our customers will get to it. And I must tell you, over 2 years of trying, and this started slightly before, meaningfully before COVID. We were just scaled up to the point where when COVID was happening, we were ready fully. But I gotta tell you, whenever I go meet customers, whether it's in the US or in Europe, even in non-English speaking places like Italy, right? They have read about us on our LinkedIn and our YouTube. They have even read the Times of India article on LinkedIn.
Oh,
And they have
wow.
even read the New York Times and WSJ article on LinkedIn. So all the mainstream media is not my distribution channel anymore. They are channels of respect.
Hmm.
You can write something about yourself, but if Times of India writes, then this is more worthy. And then some more people who obviously are not following us will certainly get it. But what has happened is most of our customers are already following us now. We have a direct channel. That's the power of B2B social media. Direct channel.
Okay. Uh, okay, this takes me to my next question. Social channels, social media. So obviously the winner within, I think, B2B is LinkedIn. I don't think there's any other platform. Yes, YouTube to some extent where you do some video content. Do you think any other platform is really catching up and business, at least B2B side, should think of?
Well, there's potentially Twitter,
Okay.
right? And so Twitter is really good if you're trying to influence the society.
Okay.
And LinkedIn is very good if you're trying to influence your customer base.
Mm-hmm.
And Insta is very good if you're trying to influence the youngsters.
Hmm.
So we run Insta only for hiring and college engagement.
So
So all our content.
more of your brand marketing or
Well,
organization
the
marketing.
term is actually quite loose, right? Like the word brand marketing is different brands for different people. When you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
hire someone from college, then that is a different type of brand. It's
Hmm.
not that you're not trying to tell them that, look, we're making optical fiber that can live for 35, 30 years. That's not what matters to them. What matters to them is we are fun people,
Hmm.
right? Or that, this is how we educate or train our people or take care of them. So the LinkedIn one has that for sure, but the Insta one only has that.
Hmm.
There's no point in telling. You can talk about things that are important to young potential employees as well, and it's also important to the customers. So, for example, here's how we take care of our environment is important to everyone. So that goes both places, but it's a different storytelling.
Hmm.
And Twitter is mainly only if you want to make some noise about your stand in society. So I actually don't play much on Twitter, and I might, if I become, if I have something to say to the society, I should probably. But at this moment, I don't have. I do have a lot of things to sell to my friends in marketing, so I actually do that on LinkedIn because that's where you get, engagement on that. I don't have any political points to make or India versus rest of the world type points to make. But there are points like that to be made by large businesses, right? And therefore, Twitter is an important one.
Hmm.
Not for us, not for us.
Okay. But I guess
YouTube is incredibly, I'm sorry, I wanted to add on YouTube. There is
Mhm.
no channel that makes you position as a an explainer. So if I want to tell the world, whether it is my customers or potential tech employees, that hey, the this bend insensitive fiber that is being done, it is based on this technology and that thought process, and this is smart. Nothing does a great job as a YouTube explainer video. So it has its own niche, right? Or a product launch or storytelling like that, video stuff. There is that. You can pull stuff on YouTube and make people go from LinkedIn to YouTube, right? Um, but when you're trying to do anything educational on or explainer, then it's YouTube. So
Okay. Okay. Uh, I'll come to this explainer part, but on Twitter, I also feel that when you need to really keep media in loop, I think that's the place because most of the media friends are very active on Twitter than any other platform.
yeah, you're right. So no doubt about it. It's because the media people are obviously converting everything about a company into what it means to society.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
Twitter is a society platform. It is
Yes.
not, Facebook is a family friends platform. LinkedIn is a platform for professional friends. And Twitter is a platform for people discussing larger issues with humanity and society. And
Hmm.
who discusses larger issues with humanity and society? Media does, right? So the
Media.
media people have to be there. So yes, media relations is Twitter for sure. And of
Okay.
course, we do media connects and press releases and stuff like that on Twitter. Um, but more and more media people are silent watchers on LinkedIn. So
Okay.
they speak on Twitter, but they read up on LinkedIn. They are there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I would say if you're a B2B company and all you care about is doing one channel, then it's LinkedIn. If you're a
LinkedIn.
B2C company and all you care about doing one channel, then today it's not even Facebook, it's Instagram.
Hmm.
And I don't know how long will it be Instagram, but sometimes it's also like how many things can you do, right?
Right, right, right. And I think that era of repurposing content is gone because you have to now be very platform specific.
I mean, yes, that's the short answer is yes. The long
Hmm.
answer is you repurpose the core content and you write it differently. So if the word content means what are you exactly saying, then that can be repurposed. But how are you saying it, and what picture do you put, and what do you say on this platform or that? You can't just say, here it is, and now share it on the other platform. You can, but it
Hmm.
doesn't work. You have to think through, it, it's true of humanity, right? Like if I'm talking to you, Faisal, I'm saying I'm still the same person, but what if I start talking to a youngster who just joined our company? It'll be a
Hmm.
different way of speaking. And what if I talk about the same company to my son? It'll be slightly. What if I talk to about the same company to our minister? It'll be a different one, right? So different audience, different content.
Okay, I had a question for you, and interesting. It has come from audience also.
Mhm.
So, how do you see the product marketing globally different than in India? You are a global marketeer, so how do you see things different?
And it's specifically about product marketing or about marketing in general.
It's okay. It's about a specific product. I think 165 micron fiber. I don't know. I don't know why so specific.
Yeah. It's clearly coming from someone from my company or someone who's watching the company close enough. Um, Let me explain. So it's not about US versus India in terms of the question. I actually think, and I'd like to answer the question in two parts. One is what does the US customer need versus what the Indian customer needs to hear, and
Hmm.
what do the US marketers say and what do the Indian marketers are able to say, right? So there's a talent question and a need question. So on the need side, the US marketers actually do not as much need um, this ultra thin fibers. That's a specific feature requirement out there, right? They do not need it as much because A lot of it is not that, I guess, they're not pumping things through thin pipes and stuff like that. So for them, the benefit of that product will be about the benefit of it being low weight and low cost and better for the environment. And why would you actually load so much plastic and glass when you can get away with doing less harm to the environment and be nice. So that's how the marketing will be, because they need that there. Whereas in India, or let's say Europe, where there is duct space issues, and the things are more kind of constricted and narrow, your point of view will be more about ease of use and
Hmm.
ability to do more with less space. And you know and also, since you're doing so many branches and stuff like that, the splitting benefits and stuff like that. So yeah, so in India versus US, like in any other place, on the product requirements, because the market needs different things, even the same product, your proposition changes, and therefore your story and content changes. But I do think there is another question in there, which is, how do US marketers differently behave differently from India marketers? And I think it used to be, the difference used to be night and day 20 years ago. Night and day. Indian marketers only were doing emotional marketing. Brush your teeth with this one, you'll smell like cloves, and spray this one on your body and you can run and people will follow, and cut, stuff like that, right? Purely emotional marketing. And I think not even 10 years ago, right, it was very rare to get data in marketing decisions in India. And yes, there was data, like, yeah, how many people watched this particular ad and how many people remember this and that, but not really funnel data, right?
Hmm.
Not really data like, here is the drop of percentages. And this started happening with e-commerce in India, not with digital. And so nowadays, I think that is closer by. But an American marketing decision maker is data analytics first
Hmm.
and emotional storytelling later. So
Yeah.
they are talking a whole lot about do storytelling, because somewhere in the rush of data, the American marketer had for some time left the job of storytelling to be not so innovated. In India, we have been doing storytelling a whole lot, so the need to do more data is coming up. So it's a balancing thing. And the other thing is, Indian content writers, well, they are more in the business of SEO content writing, which means lots of volumes. So the analytics is typically not that deep. So because of the volume to work ratio. Um,
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And in Indian guys are still trying to be very impressive with their English writing style. So it's generally very formal and nobody likes formal. So it's kind of difficult. You come from a school where your teacher asked you to use tough, difficult English words that people have to check in the dictionary. And here you come and your CMO saying, no, say simple English. And I'm like, why did I do all that English for? Right. So Indians are having a tough time writing simple English. They're trying to write very floral. That's a
Yeah.
problem. Okay, long, long answers to all your simple questions, Faisal.
No, no, no. I think, this is what we want to understand. It has to be like that. Otherwise, we could have done some reels.
Mhm.
Okay, two questions. I think there have been some definite eras of digital. Okay, there was a time when I think if you were not doing a website, you were missing something. Then came an era when we said if you're not doing an app, you're missing. Then maybe social was another, and now it's like AI. If you're not thinking of AI in everything, then probably you are going to miss something very important and something very productive. I'll come to this question later and understand from you. But before that, see, there is also this wave of D2C, direct to consumer, okay? And somewhere maybe B2B, traditional B2B businesses are also getting impacted, and they also feel that they need to message out to the end consumers. I
Hmm.
think the classical example is Intel Inside, which started long back. And then a lot of companies did follow this kind of thing. Do you see a company like STL ever reaching this phase where, probably uh, I, as an end consumer, should be knowing that, okay, my maybe mobile service or fiber, DTH, broadband, or any other thing is coming through using STL fiber. So this is a superior fiber, broadband connectivity than maybe the competition.
I, I don't think that's easy. I think we have tried. I think it's
Okay.
because Intel Inside is one is to one product situation, meaning you buy a IBM or a Dell laptop that has Intel inside it. You can say it has Intel inside, and that's fine, right? But that's not how it is with optical fiber, because you can buy a service from Airtel, and even if the Airtel guys say we have STL inside, they cannot not use non-STL stuff because it's networked, it's all messed up. It's 30% is here on this road is STL fiber, and the next one it is like say the other company's fiber, and the next road. So you are in a network situation, right? And the whole concept of the internet is a network.
Hmm.
Um, for network companies, it's impossible to do that. Like, for example, you don't say that I will drive on India's road networks because it is built on LNT. I mean, there is Sai Kripa builders also somewhere, right? Um,
Okay.
I mean, you can't say I will go from my home to my uncle's home only if it's an LNT road, right? Like, can't do that, right? I mean, you gotta go there. Right? You can tell the Sai Kripa guys. I don't know if there is any Sai Kripa. I'm just making that up, guys. So you can't tell the guy. You can go tell the guy, be a good guy like these really good ones, LNT, NAM, Gammon, or NDPC, or whatever, right? But you can't say if your road is not good enough, I'm not going to go to my uncle, right? So that's the problem with networks, and the Intel Inside example is missing the point that there is not one-to-one correlation here.
Okay.
But I don't ever think that you build a respect by being that directly out there. Like, for example, I'd say, um, a lot of us do not know that our websites are optimized because of, you know, um, content delivery network, CDNs, right? There's a bunch
Hmm.
of different CDNs out there. They make a lot of
Right.
money.
Right.
That our data centers are lovely because Amazon has made them so easy to come and down. Like, you and I don't know this. I mean, maybe because we are in the industry, we know it, right? Like, who knows the guys who use the laptops? That do they know that they are sitting on a relational database or on MongoDB, right? Like, they don't
Hmm.
know this.
Hmm.
They don't need to. MongoDB is a good product, and the guy who's coding needs to know, and they need to be in love with it. So I do think that we overhype certain things. Like, if the company that is using the optical fiber is in love with it and they are using it, and the people who are using the company that uses the optical fiber are in love with it and they are using it, I really don't think everyone needs to know that this was on STL. Okay.
Okay.
Uh, Longish thing, and I also think it's not possible.
Yeah. So I was asking this because D2C is happening and probably brands feel at times that we need to at least pass our story to end consumers. And second, I have at times seen some people who kind of uh, quote unquote position as experts, and they say
Mhm.
no because this particular service or this particular product uses something of some other supplier, and that's why you'll see this better than the competition, which sometimes you feel it doesn't have any correlation at all, but it's just like probably they know the name and they just kind of throw it up. Okay, this
So,
is why.
it's whether it's not like a good service to a larger entity doesn't
Hmm.
make the entity better, right? It does not. Like, even in the road examples, if you have one stretch of the road that is built perfectly and will not get washed off when rains happen, that does make that city better, right? But the city guys are unable to say, we will only make roads from this company.
Hmm. Hmm.
because they have to build a network. They're not
Completely.
into the business of making either a perfect network or making no network. They'll make their best network that they can in that time, right?
Hmm.
And in terms of D2C, by the way, there is a direct, as a marketing person, I would say direct to consumer brands have obviously got an emotional appeal, right?
Right.
There
Right.
should be other strategies like have a direct to consumer sub brand, even though it's not so important. And I think a lot
Hmm.
of our big companies have done it. Cisco has a direct to consumer phone that sits on office desks. That's why your
Right.
average guy knows about the name Cisco. It's not because they went inside a data center and saw a Cisco router there, right? They didn't even see it.
They didn't even see.
Nokia, which is a really big brand now, despite the fact that their phones are not anywhere in the criteria of being big market leaders anymore, but they were at some point. So now when somebody is buying a Nokia network, the name Nokia is easy to remember, right? Um, yeah, so if you really want to have a direct to consumer feel, like pick up a small product from that industry and do a great job. And like, for example, I'd say STL should pick up Wi-Fi routers and do a great job of it, because then they'll say, oh, my Wi-Fi router from STL is good. They must be a good company. That's exactly how DLF picks up, or Aon picks up the jerseys of sports people, right?
Hmm.
So yeah,
Hmm.
you are Manchester United, and if you are wearing Aon, Aon must be a good company. I have no idea what Aon does, but they must be a good company, and they must be rich, right? I mean, it's difficult to buy that shirt. It's like, oh, if you're DLF, your buildings were nice in any case, and then you put money on that IPL thing, you must be a good company. So that's in marketing. It's called the halo or Zeigarnik effect, right? Like you do not understand why you love something, but if you do, like, what the heck, let's go buy it, right?
Right. Right.
So you do create desire by other way, but it's not so linear like X inside.
Interesting. Okay, now coming to the last question. I know it's completely my fault. We started late.
Mhm.
We'll still try to wrap up within the time. So I want to understand, Manish, from you, how are you seeing AI impacting marketing? I think marketing is one of the early adopters of AI. Okay, maybe right now we have some cosmetic things happening, but a lot of content creation has already started. Started happening with the AI tools. So, how do you see AI completely transforming marketing?
So this is the topic on which everyone's an expert now. So I will also try to be one. Though I'm actually going to be very. I gotta pre-say this to people. Look, dude, I'm not an expert on this. Like, okay, I do play with Gen AI all the time, just because it's fun to play with things, and I also do think that it's a good idea to use any new technology to do fun. And I'm playing around with stable diffusion and mid journey for long times, and sometimes I bug my team by saying you should play around with them. But I have not been a big fan of using that as a transformative device just because everyone's saying it. There are certain very important ways I would think it should be used. But I can tell you first what people think it could be used for. It could be used for improving glitches, right? It's really good at that. So if you're writing up, and of course it can be used for research, right? Like you don't want to go everywhere, just do a little research here and there, and it gives you something. Okay, now you got a thought starter. Now start writing your blog, right? It could be used for that. And then when you write your blog, especially in India, right? Um, the gerunds go wrong, the prepositions are all over the place, the structuring is wacko, there is no headline texting, no Z indexing. People who are content writers have a tough time to become good content writers. Use AI, it'll really help you, right? There was already Grammarly, and it did a whole lot good job, but it did not do structuring, right? And so with things like the Chat GPT and Bard, and these ones that are the large language models, they are helping you think through, right? One of the most
Hmm.
important things we learned as the most difficult talent, and as I started as a consultant with McKinsey, was how to actually convert things into groups of information and layer them. These three things are causing this one thing, which in turn causes that whole, what is the level at which a particular piece of information is, and make it into bullets and dots and dashes. That stuff, structured thinking or structured communication, is actually very difficult for people to learn, and because very few people can even teach it. AI, especially large language models, do a very good job of it. Get yourself taught in that. And once you learn how to do it, then don't use the AI. Use your own creativity, right? The second thing that they can actually, and people are doing this all the time, the second thing is, you know, like sounding sweeter and nicer than you are, right? So if you're sending a email where you're like, get this done, please use AI. It'll make it sound very nice. Right? And who doesn't like nice people? So use it for that reason. When you're trying to ideate an imagery and you have something in your head and you're too lazy to draw, and unfortunately, so many people just don't draw. Marketers should draw. By the way, Manish feels so. Like, I don't think it's necessarily said in any marketing course. Marketers should draw because visualization is a huge skill. But if you don't have visualization talent, draw very poor stuff, right? And write a few text prompts and put it up in Midjourney or any kind of imagination thingy, and it'll help your imagination come along for discussion purposes. Still not very sure if you should use them for actual go to customer stuff. But yes, I mean, I've done that at times, and it kind of works out when you are trying to do volume work. Don't do your masterpieces with AI yet. Um, and there's volume work, so do that.
Mm-hmm.
What else can you do from AI that people are not yet doing? I think the most important thing that people should do with AI is structured marketing math. Okay, not the most easy to do if you're only using any Bard and LLMs and stuff like that. But there's been out there with spreadsheets some really good AI work, and it's the first time that Microsoft is integrating that with Copilot. And I would highly suggest people use it because marketers, unfortunately, especially the India ones, haven't really gotten a good handle on numbers. And they understand it, but they find it difficult to structure, do the calculation, stuff like that. It's getting really useful, guys. I mean, you can do a lot of good marketing analytics by using AI, and the Microsoft Copilot is a good one for that. So yeah, I mean, use it as a tool to help yourself, not to replace yourself. That would be my advice.
Okay. Manish, I have reserved one last question for you. But before that, there is a question from audience, and I would, answer it a funny way. So the question is, how do you keep yourself updated with the latest marketing trends? So I would say follow Manish on LinkedIn. But anything else you have to add?
No, actually, I do not do a lot of market. I was wondering if I should write about marketing stuff on the LinkedIn, and typically, I'm more writing about it's technology, and a lot of people obviously think that if I'm writing about technology, it's what technology is used in marketing. There are some really good resources. The annual HubSpot report is a very good one. You should absolutely read it. Very well analyzed and stuff like that. I think Interbrand does a good job of it. They come up with, so yeah, just read out this. This is the right time of the year to read out on reports. The McKinsey quarterly is also doing a reasonably good job of it, although they make marketing become somewhat boring, but it's fine. If you want to understand the mathematical side of marketing, you can go to LinkedIn. Sorry, you can go to McKinsey's quarterlies. If you want to understand the creative side, go to Interbrand. Go to if you want to understand the channel side of it, go to Hootsuite and HubSpot. They have really good marketing material going out. You can follow a bunch of really good influencers on LinkedIn and YouTube. Yes, that I can help you with because I follow them on LinkedIn and YouTube. So if you can see what I'm following, and you can follow them, right? This is a very fun world. I mean, a lot of things are getting done. I don't think I would even know more than 10% of the, well, less than 5% most likely of all the cool stuff that's happening. And sometimes it's not what is the biggest trend that matters. This is the funny thing about marketing. Marketing is about knowing enough of the trend that you can be a little bit different from it. If you are doing what everyone else is doing, who's gonna notice? So learn the trend not to copy it, but to create another.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Okay, the last question I had reserved for you. So you recently wrote that CEOs want CMOs to make money, generate revenue. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, that was just like a, what do you call it? Clickbaitish title, right? We gotta do that, right? You content writers, you gotta say these five people from Gurgaon are making billions of dollars from their bedroom. Um, so that people can come along and like, okay, finally they figure out, it's because in their bedroom they have they're already rich and they have their passcode in their bedroom or something like that, right? Like it's kind of a, CEOs want everyone to make money, whether it's the CMO or the CHRO or the youngster who just joined yesterday. The only thing is, um, that and I think there is a challenge in there. And I've not always been just a marketer. I've been a CEO many times in my life, many times as in small big companies or divisional CEO, that kind of stuff. And I've always wanted my marketing guys to make money, just like I wanted my HR people to make money. Like, get me people that can really get me money. That's how HR people do it. And for the marketing guys, it's like build my brand so that everyone wants to buy it, build desire for me. The only challenge is that a lot of the, first in India, and this was the session that I was doing in India, it's actually higher in India. In India, people do not believe that you can create long-term value. The country is like only about 20 years into being a modern economy per se. Like, I mean, look at it. Like we are talking about, oh, Infosys is an old company. What's its age, right? 1995, like 20, 30 years we need, right? Um, you know, the old age companies of India are at best 25, 30 years old. So we have a short-term focus in India. Everyone wants to raise some money, go to Series A, Series B, Series C, Series D, unicorn. Da, 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 da. That's what they want to do. And the process of building respect and desire is slow, right? And the process of going through the funnel of marketing is fast. The process of building
Okay.
respect and desire is difficult to measure, and it generates tons of value. And the process of quickly converting that guy who clicked your download now thingy, right, into someone who's writing an email to his boss about a $25 million project seems fast, but it also doesn't necessarily give them the reason to give you a special advantage. So the issue I had on that day was CMOs should not make money now. They should make money more over a long
Oh,
period of time. The key word was not make money. It was don't be short term focused. Don't do it now. It's like, the old adage goes, right? Like, don't kill the golden goose to get out one egg.
okay.
Take it time. It will
I
build a
think
brand.
Okay. I think this is a great point to kind of wrap up this discussion on. Really interesting conversation, Manish, and I think the whatever the takeaways were, they were exactly apt to the title and what we have thought of while envisioning this program. We want really such thoughts to come out from thinkers like you who also know tech, and this helps audiences in whatever they are doing. People are learning, people are trying to implement new things, and that's where uh, expertise coming in from people like you will go a long way. Once again, thanks a lot for spending an hour or over an hour with us over this weekend. Really appreciate your being here with us.
Thanks so much, Faisal. And thanks to all the people who will probably see this. And hopefully, I'm saying things that help you. And if they're not, just trash them, do your own thing. Great.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Take care.